once again, everybody. Brittney Slays here from Unleash the Archers on video number 3 for the track by tracks on our new album Abyss. Out now, available on all the streaming platforms everywhere, and iTunes and Google Play and Amazon MP3 if that's still a thing. And yeah, indiemerchstore.com and napalmrecords.com. If you haven't had a chance, I definitely recommend watching the first 2 videos. This one isn't going to make too much sense without them because we're at the end of the record here and all the lead up and build up has already been covered in the first 2 videos, so I definitely recommend checking those out. And if you haven't watched those yet either, I totally recommend checking out the track by track videos for Apex, because Abyss is a sequel to our 2017 album Apex. Both of them are concept records that we wrote the story for at the same time and then just released 3 years apart from one another, so it's all connected. Definitely feel free to take a look at those videos if you haven't had a chance yet, and then come back to this one, track by track video number 3. For those of you that have seen them all, welcome, and let's get right in there with track number 8, The Wind That Shapes the Land. So, the Immortal and the Grandson are running from the matriarch. They finally decide to turn and face her and do battle. They land themselves on this long abandoned planet out in the middle of nowhere. Some civilization had been there at one time, but now there's nothing left but the crumbling remains of their cities and their culture. And the Immortal decides that this is where he's going to make his final stand against the matriarch and defeat her and his own demons once and for all. So the song starts with a very slow, sort of moody, introspective moment where he's saying to himself, I'm standing on the edge of something that I desperately need, which is this closure to his life. And he's not even really the kind of guy that's going to hope for the curse to be broken or for the grandson to actually free him, like the grandson promised in Legacy. But he's just kind of hoping that maybe this could be the beginning of some semblance of freedom with a kind person like the grandson as his master. So he's saying, okay, I'm going to do this thing and then, we're going to go from here. But first, right now, I really need to focus on this battle against the matriarch. So he is at this moment where he sees the matriarch and he is basically saying to her, I never belonged to you. You don't own me. You don't control me. I'm going to do my own thing now. And that thing is, I'm going to beat the crap out of you, basically. So the battle sort of starts. She's throwing the planet at him. He's blocking it. He's making his way towards her closer and closer. He's fighting off and fending off everything that she throws at him. She's pulling down mountains. She's creating this hurricane, a storm of rock and magic around him, and he just keeps constantly pushing forward. And there's a screaming part in here where we have Grant as the voice of the matriarch saying to the Immortal, you know what, you're not going to win. I am more powerful. I'm the most powerful I've ever been. You haven't seen me at my best yet, and you think that that I'm going to let you live and just bring you home to make you my servant again, and you're wrong. I'm going to destroy you here and now. And that's that narcissism again, where she really just doesn't even care that he could be a powerful tool for her in the future. She's just taking all her anger out on him. And he is just continuing to constantly push forward into this storm that she is creating around him. And there's this moment where he is in the eye of the storm, the center of it, and there's silence and it's calm, and he can see it all raging around him, and he can see her, and she is so enraptured in her own magic that she's not even realizing how close he is to her. And he realizes that all he has to do is keep pushing through, and that he could actually physically grab her and take the fight to her in the way that he knows how, in the way that he does best, which is hand-to-hand combat, which has always been his strength, as we saw in 10,000 Against 1 when he destroyed an army of 10,000. So he just keeps pushing. The song ramps up again, and he finally gets close enough to grab her by the throat. And there's this line that says, "Firm within my grasp, I hold the spark and shatter it." And this was totally inspired by Transformers. But so he is physically holding her in his hands and crushing the life out of her, crushing her life spark. And when her eyes go dark, finally he realizes that he won the war and that he has defeated the matriarch. And it's just this moment of sheer power, and kind of takes him over. And then the clouds break, the rocks fall to the ground, the storm stops, and he can see the stars. And it's this epic moment of happiness, and he kind of is doing a little dance on this planet and celebrating the fact that he finally beat the matriarch, and that this whole saga that he's been going through for the last 50 or so years is finally over, and he's faced this demon inside of him. He never thought that he had the power to defeat those that have always controlled him, and finally he's able to do that, and everything's great and happy. And then he realizes that the grandson is laying there broken upon the ground because he got caught up in the fight, basically, and is now laying there dying. And he says to himself, I defeat her, I win this battle, I finally have a chance at happiness, and then this happens. And I realize that I'm never going to escape from this, and I have nothing in my life without so much sacrifice, and I'm just doomed to constantly be this person and this cursed being. And it's kind of a really unhappy ending to what should have been an awesome moment for the immortal. Then we move on to track 9, which is Carry the Flame. This song is a duet with Andrew. I wrote the song specifically like this because in Apex, Andrew was the voice of the son who befriends the immortal in Earth and Ashes. And he portrays that moment where the son says, "You know what, it's okay. I'm going to come with you willingly. I understand that this isn't your fault and that you're just doing what my mother is telling you. So I'm not going to give you a hard time." And Andrew was that character on Apex, so I wanted him to be the voice of the grandson in this song, where it's very much a back and forth between the two characters. The immortal is holding the grandson in his arms. He's upset, he's crying. He thought that finally he would have someone that he could spend some time with, someone that he could learn from, someone that wasn't just using him to be a weapon in a war or a coup d'etat or whatever, he happened to be a part of at that time. And it was finally someone that he felt like maybe was going to give him something worth living for. And of course, here he is dying in his arms. So he's extremely upset. But the grandson, just like his father, is saying, it was never about me. It's fine. I'm gonna die here, but you're gonna go on, and you're gonna carry the flame, and you're gonna be this person that you always wanted to be, but I'm gonna let you do it as a free man. And he breaks the curse at the end and sets him free, so that the immortal can have the choice to be the good person that he's always wanted to be. And instead of being a tool for others, doing evil, he can finally choose his own path in life and do good. And he makes the grandson a promise as he's dying that he will do this. And the grandson basically just says, thanks. And the guiding light part of things is the grandson saying to the immortal, I'm always going to be here with you. You don't need me around physically in order to know when to do the right thing. That's all you, and that's always been you. So I'm going to be there in your heart, and I'm going to be there forever, and I don't have to physically be there with you for you to know that I'm there watching over you. So that's what that's all about.
Facing the glory, open before me, millions of light years to roll. For once in my life, the journey is mine, and I don't know which way to go.
Then we have track 10, which is Afterlife. And we called it Afterlife because it's the first moment after the spell or the curse has been broken, and he lived that life for so long that this is the new life. This is the new immortal, the new path that has been laid out before him. And so he's not dead or anything. He's actually, in fact, reborn. And he finally has control over his own path. And he's also realizing that there is no such thing as fate, and that he has complete control over where he goes and what he does. And now he's sort of like, well, what do I do? Where do I go? And he's facing this abyss laid out before him, infinite possibility of things that he can do. But we've got the harsh vocals in there as his subconscious telling him to be that powerful tyrant that he has the power to be, and saying to him, you know, go destroy civilization, go enslave some people, go take revenge on those that have wronged you, and, you know, get your anger out by taking over an entire universe, because you know that you have the power to do so, and don't be a baby about it, basically. And just find the will to be that person that you know that you can be, which is this incredibly powerful and dark entity. And the immortal is just fighting back and forth with himself, saying, I was that person for years. It doesn't matter that I was under the control of others. I don't want to be that person. I was forced to be that person, but that's not the person that I am. And I'm going to keep my promise to the grandson, and I'm going to be a good guy, and I'm going to fight for justice, and I'm going to fight for a world that is fair, and I'm going to be the light in the universe as opposed to allowing the darkness to engulf me. And so at the end there, it's this moment of, okay, here I go, but there's still that sort of dark voice in the back of his head, so you don't really know exactly which way he's actually going to go. But you just have to hope that he chooses the right path, and you know that he will, because he was in such a dark place for so long. And that's it. That's the album. And the whole record is really just about the immortal finding himself and finding the strength to break the chains of expectation, and to learn that fate doesn't determine what he does and what he says and his choices in life. His path is not determined. It's not a straight line that he walks. There are many options and many possibilities. And just like in life, for the rest of us, we don't have to do what everybody expects of us. We don't have to, you know, work the 9 to 5 and live a life that doesn't feel comfortable if that's not who we are inside. And we all have to find the strength to become the person that we were meant to be. And it's scary, and it's the hard thing to do. But if we just choose to love who we are and to embrace our strengths and our weaknesses, we'll all be happier, and we'll all find success and fulfillment in life, instead of constantly looking, outside ourselves for that. It's always, search within. It's always there. The strength and everything is always inside of you, just like it was inside of the immortal all along. And yeah, that's basically it. So thanks so much for tuning in, for hanging out and watching these videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy the record. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the track by tracks. Again, if you haven't had a chance to listen or watch them, go check out the Apex track by tracks, and check out our music videos on the Napalm channel for the title track Abyss, and the second single Soulbound, and then Faster Than Light, which is basically us just being a bunch of goofballs. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And thanks so much again for your support. Really appreciate all your pre-orders and everything, and just how much you guys have embraced the nerdiness of this album and everything that has gone into it, and the whole story behind it and everything. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll try and get you guys some answers. And if you have other theories about where the Immortal's going to go now, or if he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy, I'd love to hear them. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye. And he says, "Excuse me." This is unacceptable. Well, you can't make noise or do anything and you're in the way. Okay. Buddy, what did I say about not making noise?